Hi, Jerry Luker here, and I'd like to talk to you today about one of my favorite subjects is buying and selling property and making money. But really today I'd like to talk to you about the purchase and sale agreement that I always use as a seller. And this is the contract that I use when I'm selling property of any kind, including mobile homes. And one of the first things on it that comes to light is the earnest money deposit. And everybody is used to getting out their checkbook and writing an earnest money deposit or receiving one, from an agent or somebody who's buying a property. And historically, it's been kind of funny. I've purchased a lot of properties, $100,000, $200,000 properties, with a check for $500 or $1,000, and this has been accepted by the seller. Well, as a seller, I'm going to accept no less than 5% down from a buyer. And that's not usual or normal, but there's very, very good reasons that I do this and why I stick to it and why everybody should stick to it. And that is because if the contract does not go through, if the buyer defaults for some reason, and we're not talking about not getting a bank loan or whatever, no, they get their money back. But if they lose earnest, if they lose faith, okay, if they do something that you like walk away from the deal, or they don't show up with the money at closing or whatever it is, you're left with the earnest money deposit. And you should get no less than the maximum that you're entitled to in Washington State here, that is 5%. And you really need 5% because if you calculate, you're taking a house off the market once you do that purchase and sale with a potential buyer, and you're not going to be able to sell to anyone else, and that may drag on for a week or 2 weeks or a month or 45 days or whatever it is. And if the deal goes south because of the buyers losing faith or earnest, they lose their earnest, okay, in doing something or not doing something they should, then all you have is that earnest money deposit. So if you're not getting the max, you're really missing out. And I will share with you how I get that 5% down and why. And also that, I have gotten a lot of earnest money deposits out of escrow, out of people, whatever, because they have defaulted. And my contracts are a lot more strict than others. They're totally legal. Just about everything is legal and ethical as long as the parties agree. But if the people really don't perform, and over the years there's a lot of loopholes and a lot of ways that people have tried to get out of deals which they shouldn't, I kind of hold their feet to the fire, and I get a lot of earnest money deposits, back into my bank account from people when they default. And if it's 5%, it's a lot more money than a lot of people get. So all I really do in this endeavor is when I sit down with people and they're going to write a check, or I tell the agents or whatever that I want the 5%, and some of them kind of say, well, gee, and I say, hey, here's what it cost. I just educate them. I says, I'm taking the house or the property off the market. Somebody comes in with cash tomorrow, even a higher amount, I can't sell it to them. I mean, this may be off the market for several days or several weeks or, whatever it is till we get the deal done. And all I have for protection if something goes south is that earnest money. Okay, so I want the 5%, I want the maximum, and I'm going for it. And I also tell them, especially if it's financed, that the bank is going to require a minimum of 5% down, especially on mobile homes that I sell. We're not talking 3 or 4% FHA or anything, but the banks are always going to want a very, very minimum of 5% down. And so the best the buyer can do, if they don't have 5%, they can't buy the house anyway. So it's good for them just to take the 5%, go ahead and put it in escrow, and that shows the bank that they have a minimum down payment. And the banks have these piles of applications on their desk. What are they going to look at? Somebody's got a check for $100 or $200, on a deal, or somebody's got an actual 5% down in escrow. They're going to pay more attention to the people that's got that money in escrow. Now, if they can't qualify for a loan, they can't qualify for the park or whatever, they're going to get the money back, okay? If they do something they shouldn't, if they don't, do what they're supposed to on the contract, they're going to lose the 5%, but they shouldn't be afraid of that, because if they are, they're just telling you that, well, I'm looking forward to getting out of the contract, other than on an inspection or something like that. So I just insist that, they do 5%. And later in this little video series, I'm going to share with you lots of ways that, and I'm not a mean-spirited guy, but I just don't like people trying to take advantage of me, which I have been taken advantage of many, many times in the past. My purchase and sale now is stronger than any I've seen. It's stronger than the 26 pages of the MLS, their standard realtor forms or anything else. It's a very, very tight contract, and I keep a lot of earnest money deposits because I have taken houses off the market because people have defaulted too. I'll share with you exactly on the contract how and when and why I do that. But it's very, very important when you're doing business to pay attention to these details. I look forward to sharing those in future videos, but I wanted to make sure that the underlying message is, hey, you're going to get 5% down when you write a deal, aren't you, when you're selling? Okay, see you in future videos. Thanks. Jury Looker out.